Hello, welcome to the Joel Fleischman Happy Hour Podcast, episode number 71. Cheers, fellas.
Can't.
Dry.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
How we doing? Episode brought to you by Central Waters Brewery, the fine maker of Drexel horse medicine. And what do you got there?
Central Waters, the red ale.
How is
It's
it?
not bad, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty much usually just stick to Busch Light, but that's actually not bad.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Not bad.
You can't get a better cred than that. That's pretty good. All right, well, who do we all got here today? Go ahead around the room. Who do you guys want to start?
Steve Kudek. Work out of Campbellsport. Receiving leader in Campbellsport.
Been here how many years?
6 years, just 6 years on November 16th, I believe.
Cool.
Ty Schmidt, also in Campbellsport, lead dispatcher. Been here since I was 15, so I think coming up April will be 10 years.
Dang. You started when you were how old?
Oh God, what am I? I'm 31, so 25.
25.
Dylan Horning, Opie, relief dispatch for Ty here. Been here 2016, so almost 7 years now. I was a sophomore in high school, so just 16 when I started.
Holy crap. That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not, you have a nickname though too.
Stove.
Stove. Nicknameless.
Yep, Schmitty.
Schmitty.
Yeah.
Schmuttley.
Yeah, he's got
Schmuttley.
I got a couple
a
different
lot.
ones.
He's got several. Let's start there. There's a long-standing tradition of nicknames in the Campbellsport yard, which is our original yard, 1985, right? So you guys got like a long legacy. You're the 8th dispatcher, lead dispatcher, right?
I think so, yep.
I was one of them, so hugely knock it out, right? So I think that's 8. But nicknames have been a part of our culture since the company started by my dad. He was always big on nicknames. I think it's because he couldn't remember people's real names. So he would just start with a nickname, which is actually much more easy to understand. How did you guys all get, you got a bunch. How did you get your nickname?
Opie. My grandpa used to call me Opie from the Andy Griffin Show.
Yeah.
Years ago, the little redhead kid. I look almost identical.
Take
you
off
know.
your hat. Let's, if you're
yeah.
not. He's
Well,
a pretty hot.
now.
He's a pretty hot ginger over here. If you are just listening in on the podcast.
But yeah, that was that, and I used to get so pissed off at my grandpa for calling me that all the time, and then.
Did you know? Had you watched the show?
Yeah,
Right.
I knew who he was, but then when I came here, Ryan Walsh started calling me Opie. And I was like, that's what my grandpa used to always call me, and it just stuck ever since
That was it.
that first summer. Yeah.
Stove.
I think I got my nickname from Diesel, Josh Fell. I think it comes from the movie Bridesmaids, I think.
Yep.
When that chick's all drunk on the plane and the dude's name is Steve, but she calls him Stove and makes this big deal out of it. So that's kind of how I got my
remember that part at
nickname.
all. That's funny. So, what are some current nicknames, or nicknames that you've given people,
Oh.
or all-time famous ones?
We got a new little Nick Lindbergh we gave. Actually, I think EB nicknamed him Danny Noonan from Caddyshack.
So it's just Danny?
Because
Or Noonan?
Just Danny.
Danny.
So Carl's a good one, right? So that's Justin
Yep.
from now in Columbus. Shout out Carl, Justin. Gahan, and
Gahan.
Gahan, right?
Gahan.
Sorry, yeah,
I think-
Gahan.
I think Gahan, yeah.
Gahan, yeah. But I only know him as Carl. I only knew him as Carl, and that just came from Drexel. And now everyone calls him Carl. It sounds like outside of work, so.
Yeah, when I first started, I was in Columbus like the second week, and Rattler and Nate were like, well, go talk to Carl. And I'm like, I'm not calling here. Like, I don't know this Carl.
How about some other all-time famous ones or good ones? Because it's just about, I mean, how does the process work? It's just on the second they start, kind of? Like, you're going to get a name?
Walshy's always pretty good
Usually,
at
yeah.
finding nicknames.
The first
for
thing you do is
Campbellsport.
figure out a nickname.
Yeah, that's like your first,
Yeah.
that's like one of the first.
It's almost like a thing we have to do now. Yeah, it's a new hire. It's like we got to find a nickname.
Like an initiation, right?
Yep.
So just run through a couple. Run through your yard guys.
Rexy.
Yeah.
Rexy.
Jacob McCarty is Rex.
Yeah, right. So say their real names, right? So I only know him as Rexy, too. I don't know if I would even introduce him as Jacob.
Who else we got?
Yeah, Sexy Rexy.
Roscoe is our Aaron Walsh.
Right.
Roscoe.
Craig Nice, Naughty.
Yep, Naughty. So funny story, shout out to Craig, he's going to hate this. So when he started nicknames have always been a thing. So when he started, and he hated it. So don't do that because he actually honestly hated it. I always called him Not So, for not so nice. I don't know. He doesn't mind naughty, but he hated Not So. So whatever
I
that's all
haven't heard
about.
anyone
so.
ever call him that.
No, do not call him that. He hates it. That's not. Don't be doing that to me, Schmitty.
He doesn't like the spotlight at all.
Right. So,
Wow.
yeah, there's been some darn good nicknames through the years for sure.
Yeah.
Some were great and some stuck and some didn't stick, but that's like a real thing for sure. So, you guys started when you were really young. So how have you stuck around? Like, I mean, you didn't plan. I guess when you're 15, you're like, I'm not going to be here when I'm 25, right?
Right. Planned as just a summer job, first job.
Yeah.
You know, get your feet wet in the workforce, and ended up sticking it out and staying.
It's cool.
Couldn't leave.
That's awesome.
I don't know, I think I always said I was going to go to college for whenever anybody asked, like, you going to go to college? Yeah, I'm going to go for something, just pull something up my ass. But then I always knew in my head that wasn't going to happen. Once I started here, probably like a year or two in, I pretty much knew I wasn't going to stick here. I liked it, loved it here. Didn't feel like going to work.
You guys have a tight tribe, right?
I would say so.
How do you foster that, Steve? I mean, you guys almost have like, kind of talked about a fraternity, but to me it's more like a football team culture. Like, how do you instill that with your guys? You don't have any girls currently, I can say guys, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I don't know. We just all treat each other like brothers out there. I mean, it's not uncommon to have a wrestling match in dispatch, or when the snow is flying, the snowballs are flying.
Just try to bring a lot of fun to it.
Oh God, every day.
Right. And I do think a lot of times having young kids work with us, the youth brings out that energy, right? I think summer help is a huge part of what we do. We can find out great team members long term, but they bring a certain energy, right? They just have that certain naiveness to them. You know, it's like a puppy, right? Like if you're a hunter, you go hunting with pheasant dogs, right? Like there's just something about having a puppy, right? Like that thing's just stupid, but they're a lot of fun,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's one of them. What about pranks? Like you guys pull pranks. What are some of the all-time best pranks you've ever done?
Oh my.
I
The
think
board stretcher.
Yeah.
We've had guys going around the yard with dollies looking for the board stretcher.
1,000-foot tape.
1,000-foot tape.
1,000-foot tape.
I think.
Just set them on a journey of a product that doesn't exist.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
It's like,
in
well,
the-
why didn't they find the board
It's
stretcher?
because it's in the basement of the south building, which doesn't exist either. So.
The basement doesn't exist, right?
Correct.
So every time they talk to somebody, they make the story even bigger. Is that kind of what it
Yep.
is?
And then,
Yep.
I think I seen it up here, and then he goes up there, and
Didn't we have somebody bring all those staples up
Yeah,
from the
I think
tarps?
that's probably been the top one since I've worked here. Was we had a summer help kid pick up all the little plastic tabs that come on the lumber tarps when we rip them off, and bring them in and set them on Albert's desk. And Albert kind of went along with it, and then at the end he obviously didn't want them all sitting on his desk, so he told him that he didn't need them. But that was probably the best one, because he walked in there with probably close to 100, 150 of those
Really?
little
Oh my
plastic tabs
gosh.
and put them on his desk.
Well, do you know
So
the-
that was good.
Do you know the Jake Young story? That's my favorite, may not be the best. So we used to pile the snow in the middle of our yard. So shout out to Jake Young, who now is in charge of all of the leader of all of the running backs, right? So he's got 30 people underneath him. Does a great job, or 20 people. But Jake was in the yard at the time, and I think he was 16 or 17. And we used to take all the snow in the winter and just put in the middle of the yard, because the middle of the yard was kind of like that, kind of like it is now, just that middle of the highway spot. So it just accumulate. And he came in after school one day or whatever the hell it was, and we're like, we got to move that snow. It's got to go. So we gave him a stake truck, like a 2-ton bed truck, and we told him he's got to move it. We gave him a shovel. And they literally made him load one whole load of it by hand, which didn't even dent the pile, right? I'm like, dude, you gotta go out there. I feel horrible. And they're like, no way, it's hilarious. He's taking a shovel and throwing it on the truck. To this day, I don't know what he thought when he was doing it, but man, that had to be brutal.
I think
Absolutely
he's
brutal.
used that prank on other people.
Yeah.
Probably
as well.
That's a pretty good one.
So how do those all start? I mean, is it a newbie? Is it you're trying to get payback on somebody else?
Usually a new hire.
Yeah, it really is
summer
like a
kid.
frat, right? Like it's a frat. You get a
Yeah.
nickname, you get pranked. You gotta like earn your stripes. Is that fair, kind of, right?
Definitely.
But then once you're in the club, your family, right? Once you get through that process,
Yep.
it's kind of like a frat.
Yeah,
Each
you're
other's back,
accepted and
right?
you're one of the guys now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. My son Jackson, shout out to Jackson, works at the Drexel Campbellsport yard. He absolutely loves it. He's at college now, and he's still always asking about all you guys and gets geeked up. Couldn't believe Walshy left. He's like, no way, that's crazy. And Walshy didn't leave. He just took a different opportunity in Kiel. So it's like, what's going on down there? He's like, no way, Walshy, I'm gonna miss him. Oh, that's horrible. Like, it'll be okay. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. So, you guys have been here quite a long time. So, 10 years, right? How long?
6 years.
6 years. 10 years for you guys, but some way you all kind of were full time about the same time. What big changes have you seen just in the 7 years in operations?
Gravel blacktop, I think that was
Yeah.
a huge one in Campbellsport.
And how did that
Everywhere.
feel? You were gravel, and what did it mean for you to go to blacktop?
Just more
Awesome.
efficient.
Way
I
more
mean,
efficient.
quicker with
Yeah,
everything.
I can't believe we ever operated without it.
It's true. I mean, this time of year would have been
it's unreal,
absolutely
yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
You know, I felt it went from like almost a construction farming type job. Not that there's anything wrong with that, to more of a warehouse type job. You know, it's still outdoors,
Right.
but like the whole thing kind of changed.
Yep.
Yeah.
The dust, the mud,
Yep.
the
Everything stays
clothing.
cleaner.
Yeah, washing off tracks.
Springtime you come in knee highs on because it'd be just a absolute mess out in the yard with the gravel.
Yeah. That was big. Obviously, logistics.
Yep.
So
Job site mobile.
what's job site mobile? So how many deliveries are we doing out of Campbellsport every day?
I would say right now, not nearly as much as we did, but probably on a good day, 50 to 60.
50 to
Still.
60. And how many of them are accurate on time and in full?
About pretty close to all of them.
98%.
98.
You're at 90. I mean, that's
99%.
unbelievable. So in the industry, I don't know if you guys even know, in the industry, most of our competitors do not track it. If they do track it, it's between 50 and 75%. So the fact that you guys are 98%, which again is a completely cultural thing, right? A company thing. OTIF is sales, it's vendors, it's all that. But 98% is, you guys knock it out of the park, so every day. So appreciate the hell out of that, you guys. So let's talk a little bit about it. 6 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, we were doing 100 deliveries out of there a day at 100 million. Now you're at 60 million. Campbellsport, and I think you know that, is more profitable now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We literally make more money. It was actually, the more we sold, the more we were in the red, which means losing money, right? Because it just wasn't cost effective for the builders that we were working with, and the way they were going about business. We had to get rid of a few builders, and a lot of the business went to New Berlin, obviously, which was good business.
Yep.
How many people did you lose? How were you impacted? What was then? What is now on a day-to-day basis?
Well, back then we had, I think, upward in the 30s of operational team members in Campbellsport, and now we have, I think our
18,
numbers are
I think
18,
it's at.
17 or 18.
So were people fired?
No.
So how did that work?
People, there was this opportunity to grow in the company, and people changed jobs. Obviously, we didn't backfill all those positions after New Berlin opened.
So it just worked itself out.
Everything works its way out, and
Scary though, right?
there's no limit here.
But it was scary, right?
Definitely.
It could be if you took it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you took it dark and cloudy,
Right.
but I mean, it was like, Nate, we're not gonna. You're like, hey, I see this coming, right? But we worked it out. I think you got to trust the process to some degree, right?
Yep.
And we are moving to Kewaskum, or right? We're gonna go. You guys know that? Was that?
I heard
it's been announced.
Heard something in the pep rally last Friday. About
Yeah,
that,
so it's like formally announced even to Team Blue. I need to put that on community, right? I don't think that's even on community yet, but we have an accepted agreement to go to Kewaskum to rebuild the McMahon Company. So we're going to be doubling our staff there, and that means direct shipments.
Mm-hmm.
So
That'd be nice.
that'll be nice, but that'll be change again.
Oh yeah.
Because of the 60 deliveries you do, if you don't do box vans, how many is that going to be?
It probably takes
That's
10,
probably. I mean,
10,
that's
12 a day
10, 12 a day gone, right?
out of our
And
delivery
maybe it's not
schedule.
every one of them, but 8 or 9.
Right.
Of just straight box trucks. But again, I think that'll be really nice. I mean, right now I did the math, and right now, if it goes perfect, we touch that door 8 times. from McMahon to us. Going direct is 4. So again, you can say you can build up a lot of other reasons why, but that's a simple reason, right? Like if you can touch something 4 times. So that's super exciting. I can't wait for that. And again, there'll be more opportunities coming with that. So that's going to be a huge, huge building. So a couple details on it. You guys want to hear the details on it?
Sure. Yeah,
I haven't heard shit about it, right?
No.
I heard it was gonna be bigger than Wrightstown, supposedly.
Yeah, right. So yeah, true rumors. I hate rumors, but yeah, but it's rumors, but yet there still is an unknown, right? Like would be the one guy that knows, and I don't really know. So it's not really a rumor. It's just like this is what we're thinking, right? So right now we're thinking it needs to be 250 feet by 1,000 feet. So that's 4.5 football fields, and it'd be twice as big as North Wrightstown, which is our trust facility. So if you think of 4.5 football fields all undercover, it's going to be a cool, big-ass facility. What?
Long way to walk.
Yeah, it's a big area. And we're going to really try to do it state-of-the-art. So one thing we're really becoming obsessed with, or I've personally challenged the team on, is I want to make it robotic warehousing. So AGV, automated. Did you Google AGV for me? Automated generated vehicles? Automatic generated vehicles? AGV. Yeah, automated guided vehicle, right? So it's literally robotic. It's like a drone on the ground, however you want to say it. So they would make the door, right? Or we would unload the windows, if you will, right? Put the windows in a rack, and then the AGV robotic, here, check it out. Right, so AGV, they literally pick it up, put it in the rack, come back, get the next one. They actually load the truck too. And somebody, obviously, again, it's just like North Wrightstown, somebody then goes, this has got to go here, right? So they're like, go get G5. I don't know if you yell at it like a dog. G5! Give them all nicknames. G5, Opie! Right, but anyways, it goes, gets it, and it loads it in the truck. So we don't quite understand the total technology behind it, but we know other industries are doing it, and it sounds cool as shit. So I think it's going to be something really cool. I think we will have first, second, and third shift in the warehouse, which will be super interesting. And then we've talked a lot about maybe putting windows in there, right? Because we don't jam our own windows right now. Mm-hmm. We used to jam our own windows. We jam our windows when you guys started? Not you, but you remember that a little bit, Ty? Ty, you're like old school, right? So we used to jam our own windows. Scott Rosenthal we'd get windows in from Anderson Windows, and we would actually put the jams and apply the jams. So the windows come in as a 4 9/16 for a 2x4 wall. We put the wooden thick staples, and you put that around, and also you mow the windows. So like windows come 1 wide. The factory doesn't make them 4 wide. Mm-hmm. Like right now, Western puts those windows together for us. Yep. You staple them together. Sometimes you got to put steel plates in there. We would probably do that there, and then distribute our own windows. So, and then if you think of cabinetry, think of all millwork packages, that's a lot of space without growth. So that's kind of
pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy. And then you're thinking,
Awesome.
If you do, we have 6 locations, if we're doing 10 deliveries a day out of every location, that's 60 deliveries a day of box trucks out of one location. So that's going to be a wild, wild hub.
Oh yeah. We're in Kewaskum.
Well, Foundry 45 is,
Yeah.
right? So then it's 28 West, right? So just south of Foundry 45.
Yep.
You know where the assisted living center is.
Yep.
And you go a little further out of town, maybe a half a mile out of town, there's them row of pine trees.
Mm-hmm.
That first field,
Okay.
it's an 80-acre lot, so we bought the whole lot. We have an accepted offer on the lot. It's going to be called the Blue Door District. It's going to have one road down the middle. It'll be an industrial park, right? So there'll be other companies within that. There's even rumors of that's a rumor, a potentially interested microbrew company to come in. Like, all right, Kewaskum's going somewhere, right? Finally, so here we go, right? So maybe that would be cool. But there'll be multiple businesses in there. The road's actually called McMahon Way to kind of give that legacy piece, which I think is cool as shit.
Yep.
Kind of name it after their dad, Dan McMahon, but McMahon Way, just the legacy of the company, and that's kind of where it's going to be. We'll be starting ground as soon as we can, but they got to do all the infrastructure. They got to bring over the sewer and the water. The machines are out 12 to 24 months. So it's going to be a couple of years yet. It'll be a while. So we got boys to design it.
Sweet.
Right. And again, same way, does that mean we're going to fire everybody that drives a box truck? Absolutely not. We'll just start figuring out, start backfilling. Campbellsport will for sure. We're already working on that, right? Can you talk to us about the distribution model? You were in a meeting today, right, Stove?
Yesterday, and yeah, we were in a case study today.
Case study today. So explain to me like the last two meetings, right? You're talking about, I think the meeting was, I'll frame it up for you. The meeting was we were going to take Trex and have only the Trex product in Campbellsport, correct? Or what was the meeting? I know it's about Trex distribution model.
Yeah,
so
Trex
kind of help me
distribution
out.
model. We would still stock Trex in every yard.
Okay.
We would obviously have all the overstock in Campbellsport to distribute out to all the other yards as needed.
Full units only.
Full
no
unit,
job lot.
full unit only at this time.
Why wouldn't we bring in all the Campbellsport and do it like iJoist and just pull all the job lots out?
We don't do that with iJoist either.
Oh, we did for a hot second.
Oh.
I guess why wouldn't, have you guys thought, I'll challenge your team when you're doing through the distribution model, why wouldn't we just have the Campbellsport pull the job lot, just pull a job lot? I mean, you're just pulling basically deck boards and we'll just wrap it up for you, right? Deck board, skirt board, whatever, pull the handrail and ship it up to you.
I don't think
it's
it's
going to be 2-3 times a week, so.
Yeah, but that doesn't account for the walk-in customers or
We can
contractors.
still have very limited inventory there. Right? I mean, nobody's pulling up to our yards and buying a deck. Like I'll take 40, 20-foot
I think
boards.
they are going to have a limited. It's going to be a smaller number, a smaller inventory.
Right, but why don't we make it really
Lean.
small? Like it's like emergency inventory only, 1 unit of each, not even a full unit. 1 unit and less of each. And why don't we just do job lot? Just have a Campbellsport expert team pull the jobs and ship them out. Why have every yard have limited inventory and then say, okay, I pulled my 2 jobs for the week, bring up more. Just have 90% of it here and then have it trickled out through the yards and, hey, just send us the orders and we'll kick it to you tomorrow. Move it on that forklift, kick it out. Campbellsport team gets really good at pulling decks.
I don't have the answer for that, Joel.
Yeah, I don't know. Some digging into there.
And again, this is kind of funny. Like, you guys don't work with me every day, right? You probably don't know that, right? Like, have I ever told? Okay, in your 10, have I ever told you guys anything to do anything?
No.
Like, did I ever give you like a quote unquote direct order?
I
No.
came and raked leaves at your house that one.
True story. How old were you then?
I think that was my first summer. It was like, I was 16, me, Kissy, Connor Kissinger, and Justin Lindbergh.
Oh yeah, we were like out of work, right? And then I just said I got to work for you. Did you work for
It was
us
a
for
Saturday.
week?
What's
Just a
that?
Saturday?
A Saturday.
I paid you straight cash.
Yeah.
So you weren't actually working for Drexel. You were just working for me for cash.
I mean, I was supposed to be working in the yard, but I think you told
I
Jake
just stole
that
you for
I
cash.
needed some
You didn't
guys.
really need you in the
That was
yard.
that.
You're probably hungover anyway. Stove, have I ever given you a direct order?
I don't think so.
Right,
No.
so again, if you don't know how Drexel works, that's like a real thing, right? Like, whatever. So I'm giving you a direct order. You got to look into that job lot. Not telling you to do it, but you got to, make sure. We all got to make sure when we get into these meetings that we're thinking way different, right? Because that's like thinking a little different. I called it the other day. We had that on the other TGIM. I talked about it a little bit. I think on our community or currents page was there's tweaking and there's transformation. To me, what you were talking about doing is a tweak. What I'm talking about doing is a transformation. I guess that's kind of my job as a leader. I challenge everybody to transform the industry, transform our company. That's when we get better. I think so many companies just tweak shit, a little bit here, and it's not really getting better. You're just tweaking shit, right? I mean, let's say you're trying to get in shape, you're trying to lose 30 pounds, right? And it's like, well, yeah, I went for a walk with my dog last week and I didn't have a donut in the break room. Well, you losing any weight? Well, no. Well, no shit. Right? Like, did you drink a lot this weekend? Oh my God, I got hammered. Like, yeah, well, I don't think you're going to lose 30 pounds, bro, but like, cool story, right? So I think a lot of times in business, it's so uncomfortable to transform, but like everybody in these rooms have to transform. Like, what if? But like, what if we transfer job lots? Like, to me, that's a no-brainer, but like, I think different, right? I don't do your guys' job, so it's maybe even a little easier for me because I have a different distance perspective. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Marcus, follow-up questions. You're good at them.
I guess, why did you guys stay here this long? What's made you stay at Drexel? I know you kind of talked about, being kind of a team, obviously, in the ops area and whatnot, but what's made you guys stay at Drexel?
Yeah, I think number one is the people that work here. Everyone's great to work with, hold each other accountable. No, that right there doesn't give anyone a reason to leave.
I think it doesn't feel like work. I mean, you come in every day. I mean, you can have fun. You can fuck around, throw snowballs at each other, but
You can say fuck it. You can say fuck it a company podcast.
Oh, shit.
Or shit, apparently. No, I'm
Sorry.
just kidding. You don't have to
Excuse my
sorry.
language there. I don't. But yeah, it doesn't feel like work ever. I mean, I always get it if you get new hires following you around in the yard for their yard week. They're like, "Is it really like what it's made out to be online and everything?" And you can tell them like, "Yeah, it's not." You could go in to any other company and they'll tell you it's all rainbows and flowers and whatnot, and you get into it a couple weeks and it's not what they made it out to be at all. So I mean, I think that's one of the coolest things you can tell people is that it's actually like that.
That's cool.
You know?
So all new hires have to start out by you guys, right?
Yeah,
I
your yard
think
week.
So yes.
Yeah, all full-time people have to spend one day in ops. We always feel that's a huge thing because that's like where all the magic happens. And if they don't have that opportunity the first week, they're going to just start their career and not understand how their job impacts you guys. Because indirectly, their job almost 100% of the time impacts you guys. If they don't spend that one day, they never get that reference point. So I think it's a big deal. How about for you?
Yeah, I think it's just all the cool stuff we do. Between State of Happiness and the expo, food in the lunchroom at least once or twice a month, brats and burgers all summer long. I think it's just all the extra stuff that I've never gotten anywhere else.
So the little stuff does matter.
Yes.
So don't minimize that.
No.
That's cool.
What's the most stressful day or moment you've had? Obviously, it ebbs and flows, right? There's times where things maybe aren't as crazy, and then all of a sudden it's stressful. But what was your biggest, like, oh shit kind of moment?
Like in a funny way, or just like in a general way, or either?
More in a general way, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Either way, but I mean, kind of like, oh, this is really stressful. Like,
I would say, for me,
because Ty, you got dispatched up,
yep,
right? Like,
yep. For me, definitely when New Berlin was not a thing, and we were any day in the summer, you could pump out close to 170, 180 deliveries a day out of Campbellsport alone, and
And the trips were long.
And every, yeah,
The guy's not coming back for a half a
we're
day.
not only driving a half hour away. We were going all the way to the Illinois border and back, and
Which is 130
12
miles,
hours a day,
120
right.
miles, yeah. One
Yep.
way,
Some good drive time in there.
right. That is stressful.
that was definitely it.
My most frustrating.
Or just
I wouldn't say
or just
it-
ongoing issue, even.
Ongoing, I don't think I have any ongoing, but
The beer must be kicking in or something.
I don't know. I feel like we have issues kind of all day long, but it's just how you react to them.
Yeah.
And
You have a good mindset. That's
yeah.
just the mindset, right?
you gotta take it positive or make a positive out of it, basically.
So, you guys heard about Model 1, Model 2 quarterbacks a lot, right?
Yep.
I think even in ops, you guys have heard about that a lot. And that maybe would be a question that I would have like a further question on. Marcus's question was, have you seen a difference in attitude of quarterbacks? Have you seen a difference in ops where things maybe aren't so chaotic or frantic as we found these quarterbacks that are more chilled, relaxed, and have less accounts and aren't so stressed out? Have you not seen that yet, or have you seen the difference? That's okay to be honest.
I have. I've definitely seen it. Just not having so many accounts, they're able to spend more time with the people that they need to be spending time with, which then doesn't make every delivery a 911 emergency because they're on the phone 24/7 with 40 different customers.
Because they dropped the ball. What is that old saying, Marcus? Maybe you guys know it, right? Mistake on your end does not require a state.
yeah,
You can go back.
Logan used to have a sign on
Yeah.
IT for that. It was like something about, your emergency or crisis isn't my,
Well, no, your lack of organization does not
Doesn't-
make my job an
yeah.
emergency, right?
Yeah.
Which I think
It's something like that, yeah.
something along those veins, and I
Yeah.
think
I think we have some in dispatch.
Yeah, we have a
so
sign like that.
I
in
just can't-
dispatch for.
yeah.
the exact words.
Google something
but-
like that, right? We gotta find that right quote, but I think that's been. Go ahead, Opie. You were gonna say something.
No, I was what Steve was saying. There's something in dispatch for it. I can't think of the exact words for it now.
But you have seen an improvement in
It's
that.
Yes, I have.
a lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part.
Yep.
That's what it
Yep.
is.
Right, and I think a salesman, a quarterback, we call it salesman quarterbacks, that has too many accounts, instantly, because of that, they cannot be planned out. By the time they react to the builder's needs, it's too late. And now you guys are all just wearing Superman capes every day and making miracles happen, which we enjoy, right, as humans, but does not make it right, because that's when we make mistakes.
Yep.
And that's when we get stressed. So I do think this Model 2 quarterback thing is an absolute game changer. I don't think we're totally there yet, but I can see the future where every account, and again, think of it on the builder's perspective, right? If we're frantic, they don't give a shit. They're already pissed. Like the second it's a frantic delivery, the builder's technically already pissed,
Yep.
right? And they have no idea that it takes us an hour and a half. I've talked to so many builders through the years, they have no idea what goes behind the scenes. And they're so unbelievably, like if Corey Lynn, right, when they come to work for us, they're like, that takes 4 hours to load. And we're like, yeah. They're like, no idea. I'm like, why isn't it here? It's been 20 minutes. Right? So I think they're pissed. So what we think is great customer service, we're actually still failing the customer. Now when it's just there when they need it, in a controlled, relaxed environment, they're like, that's pretty cool because we're in a better mood.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Right, and you're not saying no as much because it's actually organized and you're like, no, I can handle this. Is that fair?
Yep. Definitely.
Right. How do you think your jobs will change? They've changed this much in 6 years. What's one thing that will change your job in the next 6 years? That's a tough question.
Well, obviously in the current position I'm in receiving in Campbellsport, so this whole new building we're going to put up is going to change my job drastically. Just with all the unloading of doors, millwork, if we do windows, cabinets.
Again, some unknowns, right? This isn't like the
Yeah,
old
correct.
mic drop moment, but
That would totally affect my job
Right.
in a positive way.
right. I mean, you would really end up being the yards would really be more lumber yards.
Mm-hmm.
Lumber and exteriors, really, right? And that's not the worst thing because, again, the detailed, intricacies of millwork is very difficult for you guys, correct?
Yeah.
How long does it take to unload a full semi-load from McMahon?
Oh. Hour and a half, 2 hours.
With how many guys?
That'd probably be with a couple guys, and depending upon how much trim, how
Right.
many doors are on skids.
But you're talking 3 to 4 straight man hours
I mean, there could be a lot of
at
time in
least. And then the paperwork behind that, right?
there. Yep, paperwork's got to be super accurate, super detailed.
One little
it kind of
mistake.
it starts with us, so
But one little mistake, shit hits the fan, right?
yeah, good.
So if you right? So if you eliminate that and just ship it direct, it should clean up a lot of that.
Yep.
Game changer. And then I think of it this way, and I think I told some of you that already, maybe not. If you think of it this way, they also, if you were going to stain something at your house tonight, you're going to stain a frame you're going to stain something you made in your shop for Christmas. You stained it tonight, and then you're going to put it, and then the next morning before you leave for work, you're going to let it sit outside until Christmas. Right? That's like comical, right? You'd be like, why the fuck would I do that? But I just stained it last night, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Literally, when our doors and trim come, they were just stained yesterday, typically. It's like, oh,
Really?
yeah, I wonder why occasionally we have problems with our finish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
So now, I never thought to think that way, right?
Yeah, that's why I can still smell it sometimes, probably.
Yeah, like it's almost still tacky,
Yep,
right?
yep.
But you like thinking, like, if you made a little bench at your house, like you wouldn't like stick it outside the next day.
Right.
But we're like doing that with, thousands of dollars of doors and trim every day. So that's going to be a big game changer. How about for you guys? What do you think changes will come? How about a dispatch? What do you think is going to happen in years down the road? What would you forecast?
I don't even know. I could definitely see the DC aspect of it expanding big time. Maybe even Campbellsport becomes fully distribution center and kind of moves away from the retail
Right.
aspect of it.
Or it still has it, but
Or just
but if you
not
would drive
still.
through the yard,
It
you'd be like, I can tell this is more distribution
Yep.
than what they do in Campbellsport,
Yep.
Fond du Lac area, West Bend area. I'll be very interested in the next 10, 15 years, electric vehicles. I'll be really interested in that. Driverless vehicles, right? How that could change the industry so quick overnight that we won't even realize it. I'm very intrigued how we can get away from two-man deliveries. That one drives me nuts at night. You know, we do two-man deliveries nonstop, and how could we bring in like electrically powered outdoor, like a gate, like a doll, like they make them, right? So like bring up like outdoor pallet jacks. So it's not a Moffat, right? So like that bad boy, right? Right. Well, that one's not necessarily, it's not electric, but it'd be more like one of those bad boys with the big wheels and stuff, right? Like, could they come into something where we would actually take that to somebody's front door and then have one person just bring the rest of the material in with dollies?
Right.
I don't have that in my head. It's not there yet, but that'd be a
10,
huge
15
thing.
years, I mean, you really never know.
That's I mean, that's very hard. I'll probably be dead in 10, 15 years, right? Like, it's a very, very long time away.
Yep.
I mean, 15 years ago, we barely had cell phones, right? So it's a long time. How about you, Opie? What do you think potentially could be the future?
Well, I was just gonna say, off of his thing, just better service for the customers. With if we got McMahon going in the kiosk and they're doing doors trim, maybe windows eventually, whatever it could be. I think we can just serve our customers better, getting it out way quicker. If we don't have to sit there and pull a trim pallet for 2 hours each day, I think it just saves us a ton of money, tons of manpower that way.
Have you guys heard about Uber is? What Uber is? I call it Uber.
Uber?
Do you know what Uber is, right? You know what
Yep.
Uber is,
Yeah.
obviously. You just go on your phone, get an app, dude magically shows up in 15 minutes. I've had an idea that I still think is warranted, is we call it Luber, right, which is a lumber app, right? So what that typically means is, think of all either laid off dudes, like in the winter, or simply retired guys with big pickup trucks, right, that kind of want to get out of the house and do shit, but don't really have that much to do. So we would literally pay, like, you would be a Luber driver. We would know on your app that you only haul, you know, how big your pickup truck is and what you haul and what your range is, right? Just like Uber, right? Like, because this guy's got a XL vehicle, that guy's got a regular vehicle, he's this far away. Uber knows all that, right? So why don't we have a Luber app to actually, again, customer service just greatly improves.
Mm-hmm.
This guy needs like 6 boards. Like, yeah, let me get a Luber guy. Like, we hire the Luber guy, right? We just like, get a Luber guy. You know, Rich is sitting at his house, retired, watching Seinfeld, you know, 700th episode at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Wife's driving him crazy. He's like, oh, honey, I gotta go to Fond du Lac. Right? And we pay him like $30, right? And he just shows up. We don't own the truck. We don't gotta find work for him when he comes back. We don't gotta like pay him benefits, and he made $20, right? And he's kind of trained like Uber, like, hey, when you show up, you have paperwork, and they sign that, so it's still good customer service. But man, think how quick we could get the deliveries out, and again, how many more we could do. Well, I'm not going that way till. Can you wait till tomorrow? Like, you need some, dude. We just got Uber drivers. They'll just be there. You want 4 boxes of nails? Shit, yeah. Right? And how many people like that in the world probably would sign up for that thing, right? I think.
In
You don't,
today's
because again,
world,
just like Uber, you don't got to take it.
It's like Eat Street, right? It just,
No.
here's my order and it's showing up.
Yeah,
the
and
Uber
but like
Eats
to
thing.
find the drivers, you don't have to take it, right? You see, you're like, I don't want that one. The next one comes up, you're like, I'm in. Damn, I missed it. I was going to Plymouth. We've been going all afternoon. We're paid $60. Shit. So I still think we should look into Luber. That's where I think the small loads are going. What do you think about that?
Be pretty cool.
That ain't bad.
Yeah.
Would save us wasting one of our guys to
Yeah.
go run 2 boxes of nails to
Yeah.
some job in Fond du Lac.
Yeah, right. And a truck, and the
Right.
time, and the management of all that, right? And especially when you're got a lot to juggle. It's like, no, that guy's like, and then it'd just be like, no, that guy's 17 minutes out. He'll be here shortly. Done. Uber it out.
Interesting.
I've never thought of that.
That's my job.
Yeah, no.
All right, we are at that time. I'll just do the
Wow.
mic drop on Joel's Luber idea. How about that?
Wow.
It's called a Luber episode. Take that to your DC model. Talk about transformation and not tweaking, right? Luber. So who's working on Luber? Ty, you got that one? Start that next week.
Handle Uber.
Just starts with one driver. That's all it takes. Luber it out. So it's at that time. It's this one really, really quick. So I love you guys. You guys are all fantastic. We come down to our very, very last question. Ask everybody. Big giant billboard. Everyone can see it. You pay nothing for it. It's up there for a very long time. What do you want on it? It can say something. It can be something. It's your billboard. It can be a picture of something. What do you want to do? And what is it saying? I guess why.
Don't forget to take care of yourself. I feel like sometimes you get so caught up trying to please everybody else and take care of everybody else that you kind of forget to take care of yourself.
And what does that mean to you?
Like, don't forget to go do something for you that's gonna make you happy. And maybe that's as simple as getting out in the woods hunting, or taking a drive, or stopping at the tavern for a beer with your buddies. It's endless.
Yeah, and turn off your phone, right? Like just
Yeah.
chill. I mean, I do think that supply happiness is so good, and that's so good. Like you're wise behind your years, man. Like if you yourself don't have joy, and if you aren't happy, how can you make other people's happy? And I do think our current culture, I think young moms especially, I see that a ton. They put their effort totally in their young kids and their family. And I'm living my best life, and I'm living the dream. And it's like, no, you're not. You're super unhappy because you aren't taking any me time, like real me time.
Yep.
Like some of it's just recharging the batteries. And I think a lot of people stay so busy because they don't actually want to be with themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, I think, part of the problem. They're scared to actually have a self-conversation, like, where are you at, right? They don't want that whispered in their head because they don't want to know how that hears. And then you're in a dark spot. Then you need people for that.
Yeah, then it could stress yourself out more.
Yeah, right. Then they stay busy and stay circle. But I think if you just simply take the time to make yourself happy, check in with yourself and say, what do I need? That's not selfish. And I think our culture is telling us that's selfish. And I'm like, no. You got to be happy first. You know, and happiness is different. Like you said, it can be different for everybody. What makes you joyful is totally different. I was in my house the other night and there was nobody in there. I had no music or TV on, and I was unloading the dishwasher. Christmas tree was on. I had a little fireplace going. I was like, that's fucking nice. Like I was happy as shit.
Yep.
But that was like what I needed at that time, right?
I took a day trip last week up north by myself for about a day and a half, and it was the most relaxing day and a half I've had in a long time.
Exactly what you needed.
Yep.
I love it. That's great. Thank you.
I would probably say anything's possible if you put your mind to it. For me, 15 years old, parents tell me I need to get a job, I should look for a job. Come apply here. Now I'm running dispatch for Campbellsport. I mean, did I think this is where I was going to end up? No, I was like Opie, I was going to go to college. Knew I wasn't going to go to college, telling everyone it's what I thought my parents wanted me to do, whatever. Didn't want to do it, ended up not doing it. Worked my way up to where I am by just working.
Believing in yourself, and
believing
at
in
some point
yourself.
you got to believe in yourself, right?
I mean, when I was 15 years old, couldn't do anything here. I came in for 12 hours a day and raked garbage for a whole summer. I mean, now that we have blacktop, they get lucky; they don't have to rake.
Kids these days.
But
You're like getting old. You're like back in
You're
my
still
day,
a
guy.
kid.
but kids, I don't know. I just don't feel like kids now would stick to it if that's what they had to do. If they had to come in 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, and rake garbage for any company, I don't think they would
Back
stick
to
with
your
it.
billboard. Grind it out. Believe in it. Go for it.
Yep.
All right. Peace, man.
Mine was gonna be, when you think you know everything, you know nothing at all, and when you think you know nothing, you know something. I think you just see tons of people in today's world walking around with their head way up there. I mean, it just shows in everything they do, all their work, their pride in themselves, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not always a bad thing, but just over-exaggerate what they really are.
No, I think that comes with, that's really good too. All these are great. You know, I think there's a saying out there that says, right along those lines, right there, that true wisdom is understanding that you know nothing, right? And if you can get to the point where you're always learning, and if you can rethink what you thought you knew, right? Relearn what you think you knew, right? I know how to do dispatch. And if you can be like, I actually know nothing about dispatch, right? Like if you can literally clear your head, like we talked about that DC model. Yeah, I know what that's going to look like. That's the problem. Like, what do you mean you know that's going to look like? We never did that. I have no idea what that's going to look like. Mm-hmm. And challenge yourself not going into situations and being like, I know how this is going to play out. A, you don't. And also what you think you know, you got to keep challenging yourself. And also culturally, I think, you know, you're either on this side or you're on this side. And then you hang out with all those people on this side, right? Even social media. You only follow the people that you like. Right? So you're like, oh yeah, the whole world believes in this. I can't believe Joe Biden won. How's that possible? I don't even know one person that voted for Joe Biden, but you don't know anything on the other side because your whole world is that way.
Right.
Is that what you're saying, Opie?
Right. Yep. That's it.
All right. Schmitty, Stove, Opie, it's been a pleasure.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys.
Thank you for having us.
Episode 71, we out.